Thank you. This question is, can you summarize, how many elected offices are there in Harris County and how many Republicans occupy them? And tell us about your strategy for increasing the share of those offices. I would assume in favor of Republicans. And there was a specific question addressing your support for taking back some of the benches for our Republican judges. So, I would say, sorry to combine them. So basically we're asking what's your strategy for increasing the number of elected Republicans in Harris County?
There are 874 precincts. We only fill with precinct chairs 454. We have a lot of Republican Party offices to fill. There are over 600 elected offices in Harris County when you count all the nonpartisan city councils among 34 cities and 24 school districts, as well as emergency districts, utility districts, and then we get to the county offices, the judgeships. There are 100 judgeships and other offices. We only really compete in an organized basis for less than 200 of those offices. Now, we have Republicans on school boards, we have Republicans on city councils, but we need to have a concerted effort to build our grassroots and build the foundation of this party by going out and recruiting people for these offices and then supporting them when they get there. Not fight them with bond issues. When the bond issue is up, fight the bond issue, but actually support them. Then we'll build the party.
Mr. Sept.
And there's three areas we've got to work on, obviously. One, I think, that I said earlier was our organization. Second, our message. Third, our fundraising. We've got to work on all three of those. Our organization, we've done the precinct chair analysis too. This is public information. We have 49% vacancies. The Democrats have only 28% vacancies. They beat us everywhere across this county. That's number one. Our organization is terribly lacking. Straight party voting, huge issue. That's the way they're winning. We used to win that way. We can analyze the straight party votes. It's been a steady decline. We've got to have strategies to improve our straight party voting, and that will help the down ballot races, and particularly the judges. I've been an election judge for too many years, and I know how folks vote. And they don't decide, I'm going to go to page 16 and vote for a particular judge. We want them to get the vote straight party, and then if they want to modify down the ballot, great. And thirdly is fundraising. We've got to build the trust of the business community. We've talked about this more. I've had experience raising over $5 million, building a new school. I know the actual fundraising process. We've got to have the money in place to build the organization and support it. And I believe, and I can do that. Thank you.
Well, I think there's obviously a lot of ways for us to grow this party to be successful in the next cycle. We're talking about precinct chairs. Now, my opponents here said that they're very critical of us having some vacancies in our precinct. Now, there's an assumption there that the precinct goes unworked if there's not a precinct chair. That's just absolutely not true. Every single precinct in Harris County is worked, whether that be by a grassroots activist, whether that be by a captain that we've appointed that district. Just because there's not a duly elected precinct chair doesn't mean that the precinct does not work. In fact, if you go back to 2004, we had fewer precinct chairs than we had in this last election cycle, yet our numbers were much better. So the question becomes, is that precinct being worked? And as part of our new infrastructure, we've actually put together a team of captains that are going into those precincts that are not heavily Republican. So those precincts are being worked. They're being worked very effectively, whether that be through our adopter precinct program, through our mail program, whether that be through our automated calls. But the truth is, if we want to be the majority party, we're going to have to get back to those issues, those values that brought us to the majority. And to a large extent, we can organize all day long, but if our party's not energized, then we are not going to win. Organization and energy go together, hand in hand. You got to be organized, but you got to be energized. Our folks are energized when we get back to those basics.
Thank you.